Morning. If you're a father, happy Father's Day to you in Australia, or from Australia, wherever you might be. It's Father's Day here. So, this is a cool one. They're all cool actually. I've got to qualify this. I love it. So, I wanted to jump in on after my last video about reality and just have a think about, or we'll just create essentially a foundation. And it's probably more, not so much about reality, it's almost more about everything that we're going to do here, or the way that I've approached discovering this. Is that, where do you start with reality? Like, we've got cameras, we've got audio. Sorry about that, I think my Wi-Fi went bad there for a second. We've got all these great sensors, things like that, but where do we start on what reality actually is? Like, what's the foundation that gives us the ability to detect reality? Where do we start? And if we look at current machine learning algorithms, they're really good at detecting like images and things like that, but where do we start? Like, general artificial intelligence, in my view, isn't so much as throwing more computation power at it. Well, that's not the way I'm coming at it, because we could do that already. The way I'm doing it is to discover those things that are just those ways that are completely unique, that stuff that's completely hidden from us. And where I'm coming from in regards to reality with this is that I don't have any idea. I know what I can see, I know what I can interact with, I know that I'm currently standing on the other side of a table talking to you, but from the perspective of an artificial intelligence, I don't know where we're going to start. Now, I'm actually going to start from there is nothing. Like, there is no reality at all in the world of this, in the world of like, how would I teach an artificial intelligence where to start? Like, it's blank. We could do things like, we could go down the world, like to teach it about reality. There's a great example of so probably a failed area that Microsoft tried, which is they had an artificial intelligence, I think it was a girl, let them loose on Facebook, and it used essentially gaslighting, the injection of alternate reality, to learn about reality, which is fascinating. That something that can be so damaging to a lot of people is also the way we learn about reality. It's sort of like a shortcut. Instead of learning it for ourselves and discovering it for ourselves, that we just leverage someone else's thoughts and feelings about a particular situation or a scenario and how to deal with it. Reading a book could be considered gaslighting, the injection of alternate reality. You know, there's an alternate reality that you're consuming and taking on board. Is it real? I don't know. I don't know what book you're reading. Science, they call things laws, but very few things are laws, and most of them are theories. If you go and read about it, the scientific community is very aware of the impact of saying something is a fact or a law. That we really don't know as much about reality as we'd like to think we do. Which is completely fine in our day-to-day lives, but in the world of discovering this thing that we live in, what is this thing? Is there this whole world that we're not seeing? What is there to discover? We've discovered things using mathematics that we've never even seen before, and 100 years later proven that mathematics that said that this thing should be there, when they looked, it was there. And when the technology was available to see it, we could see it. So there's so many. Really, what I'm talking about here is, where do we start with reality? We start that there is nothing. And we also get that we construct our own reality. Like, in a lot of ways, we make stuff up. And I think that there's that interesting merging of what we're capable of detecting and how we actually make that, how we bring in our predictions, our thoughts and feelings about how reality should look. I think that there's a merging of what is actually happening and our ability to create reality or mimic it. We have this phenomenal ability to mimic our parents, our friends and family, our environment. Like we have the ability to walk down a hallway, essentially as a reflection of what we see of reality. And I get this as an unusual way to talk about ourselves. I'm probably going to presence that a little bit because I get a little bit weirded out by it as well. But if, in my view, it's the only way to see like past what we're used to seeing and onto the other side of it. So we're going to start with realities. There is nothing. There's no reality. We know what we know about reality, but we've still got no idea where consciousness comes from. Lots of great theories, nothing even remotely close to anything that's great or decent, or certainly hasn't produced anything in the artificial intelligence space. But I'll come back with you with some videos a little bit later about it. And I'm going to talk about it because there's some great cool stuff to learn in this one. So I'll be back pretty much straight away.